All right, quick thing before we start. People always talk about BMW M cars like they know the full story. They mention the M3, maybe the M5, and they stop there. But there is a car most people have never heard of that started all of this. And there is a generation of M car that BMW built by accident that became one of the most valuable driver's cars on the planet today. We are covering every single one. Let's go. So it begins in 1972. BMW sets up a small division called BMW Motorsport GmbH. The original job was simple. Go racing. That is it. Build race cars, win championships, make BMW look good on the track. Nobody at the time was thinking about road cars. Nobody was thinking about a legacy. They just wanted to beat Mercedes and Porsche on the weekend. The first thing that division ever produced was not even a road car. It was a racing homologation special. It won the European Touring Car Championship. People started paying attention. Then, in 1978, BMW Motorsport did something nobody expected. They took that same racing knowledge and built a road car with it. Not a race car you could technically register. A real road car. And what they built should not have worked the way it did. BMW M mid-engine layout, 3.5-liter inline-six, 273 horsepower. Designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro, the same guy who designed the original VW Golf and the DeLorean. The M1 was supposed to be a full racing program, but the homologation rules changed and BMW ended up with a car that did not quite fit the racing category it was built for. So they did something genius. They created the Pro Car series where M1s raced each other on Formula One support weekends, driven by actual F1 drivers. Niki Lauda won the first championship, Nelson Piquet won the second. The M1 never got to be the race car it was meant to be, but it became something better. A legend. Only 453 were ever made, and if you find one today, you are looking at $1 million car easy. But here is the thing about the M1. It was not the car that defined what a BMW M car really means. That came next. And it came from the most unexpected direction. BMW M535i after. The M1 BMW Motorsport shifted focus. Less exotic mid-engine stuff, more practical performance. Take a normal BMW, make it extraordinary. That became the M formula going forward. And the first real expression of that idea was the M535i. It was not officially called an M car at the time. No special badge, no big fanfare. But BMW Motorsport built it. It had the same 3.5-liter six from the M1 dropped into a regular 5 Series body, and it went like nothing else on the Autobahn. Most people have forgotten about this car. They should not. It is basically the grandfather of every M5 ever made. Without the M535i, the M5 does not exist in the form we know it. And speaking of the M5, what BMW did with it in 1984 genuinely changed the car world in a way nobody saw coming. BMW M5 E28. The M5 showed up at the Amsterdam Motor Show and people lost their minds. Because on the outside, it looked like a completely normal 5 Series. Same body, same proportions, basically the same interior. But BMW had dropped a hand-built 3.5-liter inline-six making 286 horsepower under the hood. In 1984, that made it the fastest production sedan in the world. 0 to 60 in under 6.5 seconds. Top speed of 153 miles per hour in a 4-door sedan. That looked like your dad's car. That idea, the sleeper sedan, the wolf in sheep's clothing that became the entire M5 identity for the next 40 years. Every M5 since has chased that same feeling. Fast enough to be embarrassing, subtle enough to be invisible. And the same year this thing launched, BMW dropped another car that people argue about to this day, BMW M3 E30. If you are a car person, you already know what this car means. If you are not, let me explain. The E30 M3 was built for one reason: homologation. BMW needed to sell road cars to qualify the M3 for touring car racing. The rules said you had to sell a certain number to the public, so BMW built them, and what they built accidentally became one of the greatest driving machines ever created. High-revving 2.3-liter 4-cylinder engine, 200 horsepower in base form, more in the Sport Evolution version. But the numbers are not the point. The point is the chassis, the steering, the way this car communicates with the driver. Everything you do, every input, the car talks back. It is almost alive. Racing drivers used to say it felt like a cart with a roof on it. BMW sold around 17,000 of them. They won the World Touring Car Championship, the European Touring Car Championship, and basically every tin top race series they entered. Today, a clean E30 M3 will cost you anywhere from $80,000 to over $200,000, depending on spec and condition. It never stopped being valuable because it never stopped being relevant. The next M3, though, the one that came after it, has a story that nobody really talks about honestly. BMW M3 E36. The 1990s arrive and the M cars get bigger, heavier, more powerful. The E36 M3 comes out in 1992 with a 3.0-liter inline-six, making 282 horsepower in European spec. But here's the thing. Americans got a detuned version with 240 horsepower because of emissions regulations. European M3 fans never let American buyers forget it. The E36 is still a fantastic car, great chassis, communicative steering, but it lives permanently in the shadow of the E30 before it and the E46 that comes after it. That is just where it sits in the history books. Not a bad car at all, just an unlucky one sandwiched between two icons. And the one that came after it, a lot of people think BMW never made a better car than this, before or since. BMW M5 E39. A lot of serious car people will tell you this is the greatest M5 ever made, maybe the greatest sports sedan ever made, full stop. V8 this time, 4.9 liters, 394 horsepower, still had a proper manual gearbox. The sound of this engine, especially above 5,000 revolutions per minute, is one of those things you do not forget. Journalists at the time ran out of words. They would just say things like, "Go drive one, you will understand." It was fast, obviously. 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds. But more than the speed, it was the refinement. It rode like a luxury car. It felt expensive in a way the M5 had not quite felt before. Jeremy Clarkson called it the best car in the world. He said it on multiple occasions. He meant it. But while the M5 was doing that, the M3 was quietly building towards something even more special. BMW M3 E46. This is where the M3 story reaches its absolute peak for a lot of enthusiasts. 3.2-liter inline-six, the S54 engine, 333 horsepower. It revs to 8,000 revolutions per minute and it screams. This engine has a character that BMW has never quite been able to replicate since. You could buy it with a 6-speed manual or the SMG paddle shift system, which was controversial at the time and is still controversial now. But the manual version, clean examples are going for $40,000 to $70,000 today and prices are still climbing. The chassis is perfectly balanced, the steering is perfectly weighted, everything is in exactly the right place. It feels like BMW sat down with a blank sheet of paper and asked, "What is the perfect M3?" and then just built that. Many people believe they never topped it. Then BMW decided to do something with the next M5 that genuinely nobody expected. And it either thrills you or concerns you depending on how much you know about maintenance bills. BMW M5 E60. BMW puts a V10 in the M5, a 5.0-liter V10 that revs to 8,250 RPM, making 507 horsepower. It sounds absolutely unhinged, like a Formula One car that gained weight and got a job. This engine, the S85, is widely considered one of the greatest engines BMW ever built from a sound and character standpoint. But there is a very big but here. The E60 M5 has a reputation for reliability that is not kind. Throttle actuators fail. The SMG gearbox is the only option and it is not particularly enjoyable at low speeds. The maintenance costs on a used E60 M5 can destroy you financially. Buy one only if you know exactly what you are getting into. With that caveat, the experience of driving one properly is genuinely special. Just budget accordingly. The M3 that arrived around the same time made a decision that split the fan base right down the middle. BMW M3 E92. BMW replaced the inline-six with a 4.0-liter V8, 414 horsepower. It revs to over 8,000 RPM and it sounds spectacular. Objectively, it is a faster, more powerful car than the E46. And yet the debate rages. Some people love the V8. Some people think BMW should never have left the 6-cylinder. The E92 generation also gave us the first M3 sedan and the M3 convertible. The coupe is the one people care about. It is a great car on its own terms. Whether it is a better M3 than the E46 is a debate that will never end, and honestly, both sides make fair points. What came after it, though, the M5 that arrived in 2011, represented a turning point that some people still have not forgiven BMW for. BMW M5 F10, twin turbocharged 4.4-liter V8, 560 horsepower, 0 to 60 in under 4.2 seconds. It is devastatingly fast and more livable than the E60, but the turbo engine does not have the same vocal character as the V10 before it. It is impressive. It does not give you chills the same way. Power went up, soul went slightly sideways. Not a bad car by any stretch, just a different kind of M5. The M3 that followed in 2014 had to answer a very uncomfortable question. Could a turbocharged M3 still feel like a real M3? BMW M3 F80. The straight 6 is back and people are relieved. Twin-turbo inline-6, 431 horsepower. Much more reliable than the E60 era. This car proved that turbocharged M cars could still be very good. It drove well, it sounded decent, and it reminded buyers that BMW still knew what they were doing when it mattered. People genuinely loved this car. But even with all of that, nothing in this era caught people off guard quite like a smaller, cheaper BMW that arrived in 2016 and reminded everyone what M cars were supposed to feel like. BMW M2 F87. Smaller, lighter, rear-wheel drive only. No all-wheel drive option, no compromise. It used parts from the M3 and M4, but in a smaller, tighter package. People went absolutely crazy for it. It felt like a return to the old M-car philosophy. Engaging, communicative, rewarding to drive fast. You did not need a track to feel it. You felt it on your morning commute. The M2 reminded a lot of people why they fell in love with BMW M cars in the first place. It was the right car at exactly the right time. Then the M5 came back in 2018 and did something that made purists genuinely angry. BMW M5 F9. Oh, this is the first M5 to ever have all-wheel drive. MX drive, they call it. Purists were upset. Four-wheel drive in an M5. Except here is the thing. You can switch the car into rear-wheel drive mode. You can turn everything off, and then it is basically a 600 horsepower rear-wheel drive monster that will make you question your life choices. So the people who were upset mostly came around, 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. The competition version pushes 617 horsepower and it just pulls in a way that stops feeling real after a while. The M3 and M4 that arrived in 2021 did not come in quietly either. They arrived with possibly the most controversial design decision in BMW history. BMW M3G80 and M4G82. The grille. BMW made the kidney grille enormous and the internet had opinions, loudly, for months. The memes were relentless, but the car underneath is properly excellent. Twin-turbo inline-6, the S58 engine, 473 horsepower in base form, 503 in competition spec. This engine is world-class, the chassis balance is superb. The manual gearbox came back after being absent for a generation and people celebrated. And then BMW did something Europeans had been asking for decades. They offered the M3 in a touring body style, a station wagon, a proper M3 wagon with a manual gearbox. It might be the greatest everyday performance car on the planet right now. Great cars wearing a controversial face. Most people have made peace with the grille. Some have not. The cars do not care. BMW M2G87. Bigger, more powerful. Uses the S58 engine from the M3 and M4. 453 horsepower. It is faster than the original M2. It is angrier. Debatably a tiny bit less raw and pure than the F87 that came before it. But it is still the entry point to real M-car ownership and still one of the best driver's cars you can buy today at any price. If you want an M-car that actually feels like a driver's car and not just a fast car, the M2 is still the answer. BMW M8 Competition. At the top of the current lineup sits the M8 Competition. 4.4-liter twin turbo V8 617 horsepower Grand Tourer proportions. 0 to 60 in 3.0 seconds. Does everything quickly. Eats motorways for breakfast. Looks properly mean. It is not the most emotional car BMW has ever made, but in terms of raw ability, it sits right at the top of everything they have ever built for public roads. If the M5 is the fast sedan and the M3 is the driver's car, then the M8 is the one you take when you have a very long road and absolutely nowhere you need to stop. Drop a like if you learned something, subscribe if you want more, and let me know in the comments which Generation M car you think is the greatest. That argument can run forever, and I am genuinely here for it.